Okay. So let's say, for example, I have a set of 10 questions, and you can select 5 of them or something like that, or 6 of them, and you do by your own. Okay. Not decided yet, but this is probably I'm gonna go that way, right? Since we study a lot of calculation part, I think it might be that for the calculation I'm gonna fix. You have to do this, but for the essay you select. Right? But the calculation is we have to test you because we have a lot of part that deal with the calculation. Okay, never mind. This is the way that we're gonna go, right? So I think it's no multiple choice. Okay, I have the set of the question from essays. You select to do that, and the question from calculation. This is the obligation we have to do, right? Mandatory to do. Let's start with the first chapter that we first list. We start with the introduction to supply chain management, right? Firstly, you need to understand what is supply chains, right? And what are the facility or activities and functions that involve the supply chain. Okay? But the most of the thing that, for sure, that I was gonna ask you for one question is about the Google effect.
Yeah, right.
Google effect. You need to explain what is this, right, and how to deal with the Google effects, how this phenomenon occur, right, and how can we reduce this or protect this, Google effects. Right? And yes, you might need to know about the general information because I will not ask you just please explain about Google effects and how it's happened is how can we protect it very directly, something like that. So I think it's just very simple, right? So it might be collaborate with you need to understand what is the benefit of the supply chain management, right? Why we need to do the supply chain management with link to the Google effect. Okay, and for let's see what happened here. Okay, benefit of supply chain management, right? For the global supply chains, okay, we have about the complex, right, that you need to deal with, blah blah blah. No. Okay, the difference between supply chain and logistics. Difference between the supply chain and logistics. Right? I already mentioned about this. And what is the reverse logistics? You have to do this. You have to understand and might give the example. Right? And there are very important things about the supply chain management. You need to know what is the key success for the supply chain management. The key success factor for supply chain management. If we want to have the effective supply chain management, what are the factors or the things that we require? So this is the one thing that you need to understand. Okay. So the last part, right? One thing. It doesn't mean that everything that I tell you here is going to be in the exam. Okay. It just give you the guideline that this is part that you need to concentrate. Don't think that if I tell you this is going to be exam, so we have a goal for exam. So I just tell you what is exam, what are the exam we have. So I just give you tell you about the idea. That's what kind of important thing that you need to understand for the chapter, right? And it might be or might not in the exam. Okay, if I tell you everything, so what is the point? I just tell, okay, this is an exam, this is not exam, so nothing for you to do, right? So I just give you an idea. At this point, it might be that, okay, you need to understand, you need to know this, you need to know that, okay? And the last one is about, for sure that you need to understand for the supply chain management is about the challenge in supply chain management. Challenge. We already talked about the trade-off, remember? The trade-off, we already talked about the why the small businesses, what is this, right? Because, most of the business, especially for the small business, they think that, okay, supply chain management is right a big word. It's just suitable for the big company, not them. But actually, this is not, right? Because the no matter what, how outside or your organization or your companies, supply chain management is still important, right? And the barriers, why? The barrier to integrate of the organization, you need to understand, right? Because in order to develop the supply chain management, you require trust, right? Collaboration between organizations, you need the trust, right, between organizations, because the part of the supply chain is that we need to sharing the information between organizations. If you can share information between organizations, we can access to see about the inventory levels, see about their orders, and they can do to see us as well. This is the idol for the supply chain management. But we cannot actually, right? Because we have not enough that trust in the real world. And also for the trade-off, remember that we mentioned about, okay, lot size inventories, right? So if you order too much because you want to get the benefit of the quantity discount, right? Because when you order a lot, you can have a chance to have the discount, but at the same time, you're going to have the problem of very large inventory and probably have the bubble effect. Right, the bubble effect. Because what? Because if you order too much, so it means that on backward, right, in the streamline of the supply chain, you're gonna add on, right, for the orders. So that's gonna have the bubble effect, right? That have the very fluctuated demand, right, backward to the beginning of the chain. And inventory and transportation cost, again. If you want to, reduce the inventory, so it means that when you got the part or you got the raw material, then you deliver to another place by not store it. So in this case, you save the inventory cost, but you pay for the transportation cost, just like the lead time and transportation cost as well, right? Because if you want to save the transportation cost, right, you are not deliver the output of the product immediately, but you're waiting until it's full truckload, and then you deliver. And for full truckload, that you're waiting, it means longer lead time. So you need to trade off. So this is like the example, right, about the trade off. You're going to see the supply chains that you need to make the decision, right, what you're going to do, right? Product quality is eventually as well, right? If you have too much variety of your products, you require more inventory. It means that you increase about the cost of inventory. But if you have less variety, so it means that you have no point to let the customer invest into your products. So you need to think. Customer service as well. Customer service dealing directly with the customer. We require the good people. You need to hire very intelligent people, so it's costly. Right? Something like that. So we need to understand this. So in conclusion, what is supply chains, bubble effects, right? Key success of supply chains, right? Benefit of supply chains, right? And how about the challenge of the supply chains? Right? And what is a effective supply chain management? That if you want to do, what is the required factor or the things that you have to have, right? So this is the first chapter that we study about supply chain management. You need to understand all this stuff. And the next one, we talk about the locations. Okay, for locations. Okay, firstly, it's about why do we need the location decision in supply chain? What is the reasons, right, for make the decision about the locations? And also, you need to understand about the several factors for planning the location. For example, regional factor, what are these? This is factor based on the regionals, right? So, for example, you can use the example about the raw materials. Right? If you want to reduce the production cost because you are a manufacturer, right? You might have your factories that very close to the raw materials, so reduce the cost of doing business. So this is regionals, right? And another factor is about you might make the decision based on the regional factor of the labor. So the labor, because you select, right, the location that you are setting up your factories or the others facility, because that place require less cost of labor. And sometimes not just only the less cost for the laborers, you might consider about the skill of the worker as well, skill of the laborers. So, for example, Thailand's, right, have a very skilled workers, right, but for other countries, right, such as India, Philippines, or those countries that in the past that there is very close to the UK, also France, they have a very good language, especially for the English language. So the customer service normally is setting up in that place, India or Philippines or something like that, because they have the benefit of the language. You might think about the location of the market, right? So where is your target group, right? So then you select that location, right? Because it's close to your market group. And don't forget that the location for the service and manufacturing is different. Because service, you make the decision based on the revenues. You try to select the location that have the very densities, very volume of your target group, right? And the location that you can have a lot of money, right, from the customer, very crowded, something like that, or close to your target group of customer. But for manufacturer, right, you select the location based on the cost. You try to reduce the cost, especially for the production cost. Okay. This is the original factors, and also we can think about the case that the communities considerations, right? This is like big concern about the communities around the area, right? That we're gonna setting up or select our locations. For example, the attitude of people who living around that areas about the quality of life, right? So if we can help that communities that they can have a better life, it would be good, right? That's a win-win, right? We can have the laborers from that areas, right? And at the same time, we create a job, or we provide them with a better life. So that's gonna have a win-win, right? And you mentioned about the regulation of the environmental of the regulations, right? So the considerations things. For example, about the industrial aspects, right? That you have like in several places in Thailand. Let's say the Amata Nakhon, Lam Shbang, Mapaput, right? Rojana, or this. This is quite a place that is zoning, right, for doing like a specific industry, right? So sometimes we select the locations because we would like to reduce the problem of regulations, right? Because if you stay in the industrial estate, right, all for now, actually, especially for the factories, they provide you. You just move the machines or the equipment to install, and then you can start your productions. And everything is already in the regulations, right? Spacings between the waste treatments or those kind of things. And we have no need to worry much about the energies, especially for electricity. Right? But we need to stay in that rule, right? But if you're setting up your business outside, you have the freedom to do, right? But you need to concern about the problem, especially for the electricity. So where the electricity come from, right? But you can release some rule, something like that. The multiple plan strategy, you need to understand. We have three types, right? Market area plans, product area plans, and also product plan strategy, market area plan strategy, and process plan strategy. Right. I might let you to compare and contrast. Product plan strategy. What is this? You have almost one product line for one plant, right? And you sell for the whole area. So you have the benefit of economy of scale, because you are very skillable of that products of that the output, right? But you have the advantage of economy of scale, right? That can reduce the cost per unit, but you pay a lot for transportation cost or delivery cost because you deliver for the whole country from one place. Right. In the other end, right, the market area plan strategy. This is the case that you have almost all your product lines in one plant, and you sell for just specific area. So you reduce the transportation cost, but you cannot have the benefit of economy of scale because you have varieties of their part and too many products that you're going to produce, something like that. And the process plan strategy is suitable for the business that you have the several processes. For example, more automobiles, something like that. That you have the plans for engine, plan for bodies of the car, plan for assemble, something like that. Self-related factors, right? What are these, right? You need to know that this is about, you consider about the accessibility to the plant, consider about the possibility of have the flux or the drainage of the waters, and also you might think about the transportation that around that area, something like that. So in conclusions, right, for the location planning, right, mostly you need to focusing on these four of the factors, understand each of them, and also know the differences between location for service and location for manufacturing. That difference, right? And the last thing is we also talk about how can we evaluate the location. Don't forget that for the locations, it doesn't mean that we select the optimal one. Because generally for you select the location, firstly you select the group of the location. Because there is no way that one location that's gonna, to be the best for all time, or to be the best in every condition. So normally the companies that try to select the group of the location, and then based on that group of the location, they do analysis, right, and based on the current situation or the factor that they might be considered, and then select the best one. Right? And we know about the technique to evaluate the location. Transportation model we are not studying yet, right? So see you in the next class. Maybe it's next 2 semesters. So this is like the calculations, right? Doing like the models, right? For the transportation models. Factor weighting, you need to know what are these. What is this? It's about the method that combine both qualitative and quantitative. You need to, have the stroke criteria, right? And then give the weight to that criteria, right? And then based on amount of the location that you're gonna select, you give them with the score, right? Then you multiply the score with the weight, and you sum up the location that provide the highest score to be the one that you're gonna select. So for example here, right, you have the criteria on the left-hand side, you provide the weight for each of them, and then you compare the location, in this case, France and Denmark. And in this case, I give the score from 0 to 100. You score for each criteria, and then you use that score multiply with the weight, and then sum up, right? In this case, you can see that France is the better one. This is factor rating. And the calculation part that we have studied in this chapter is about the center of gravity. Remember, we have these formulas, right? We try to find the center of gravity or the distance on x-axis and y-axis to be the place for the distribution center. Right? So the information that we need is about the coordination for each of the places that you're going to deliver the product to, and also the amount for that for each place, that how many products that you're gonna deliver, right? And then you just develop, right, based on the coordination, because you develop arbitrary axis. As I mentioned and told you when we studied this topic, probably you need to have like the arbitraries of the axis on the bottom left, because we want all the coordination is all positive, so it's easy to calculate, right? And then you just using the formula to calculate x coordinations and y coordination. And one thing that you might find from this is about if each locations that we're going to deliver the product to, we shippings or we deliver equally products. So x coordination and y coordination, we just using the average x distance and y distance. Right. So for example, if all this let's say 1,000. But for the x coordination, you're using the number of the ship for each place multiplied with x distance, right? So 30 multiplied with 1,000, 90 multiplied with 1,000, 130 multiplied with 1,000, 60 multiplied with 1,000, and we divide it by amount, right? Actually, it's 4,000, right? So you can have 1,000, 1,000, and then you cut off. So it's just doing the average or the total of the x distance, the y coordination as well, if you have this all equally, right? So this is a location planning that you need to understand. I used to ask you to calculate this once for the location planning calculation. The next is about lean. Try to find lean. Okay. Just time and lean operations. Yes, for sure that you need to understand what is the goal of just-in-time. The goal of the just-in-time, ultimate goal is we want the balance system. Balance system means rapid flow, right, of movements. And we're using this diagram to explain about the basics components of just-in-time and lean, right? We're starting with the ultimate goal. We want the balance system or balance rapid flows. And in order to achieve that ultimate goal, you have to achieve the supporting goal first. And we have 3 supporting goals. Eliminate waste, right? We have 7 wastes, remember? Where we try to eliminate waste, because waste is the one that useless and it's costly. Waste including about we have the overproductions, waiting time waste, right? The unnecessary movements, right? Defects, and about the innovations of doing the method of the operations, the transportations that necessary, something like that. And another supporting goal is implement disruptions. So what kind of disruption we will talk in the just-in-time? Remember that we want the ultimate goal that we have the very flow, rapid flows. So the disruption is this obstacle of rapid flow, right? For example, the breakdown of the machines. You have the machine breakdown, you stop. This is disruption, right? Unskilled worker, if you have unskilled worker, you have problem with qualities, you stop, you reverse, right? It's costly. So we want to eliminate that things, right? And also we want the system flexible. So it means that we can, cross-functional, the worker can help each other. Let's say that they can help together, even though that they have a different department. And also for the system flexible, we can refer to the way that we can, adjust the activities by not stopping the operations. Right? So this is supporting goal. And then we talk about the building blocks, right? So I might ask you about, give me the example of the building blocks, right? The product designs very directly. So everything that you try to explain is linked to the ultimate goal, right? We want the very rapid flow. So building block, the product design is what? If you have the very standard, it's very suitable for the just-in-time because it's like the part that connects the very standard, no more too much varieties of part, right? So it can help you to make this more faster, right? This is about the product designs, right? And also, if you have more standard, what is the next thing? Modular design. We prefer to have the product that's connecting as a module, right? Using the part connect together. It's very useful for just-in-time. And we can have like process designs, right? Process design. For the process design, yes, what is the detail that we talk a lot? Smaller size, remember? Smaller size, right? Smaller size. So smaller size means that we try to keep the productions for each type the output just not that too much, right? Keep doing as smaller. Why we do need to keep for the smaller? Because for the small, we can reduce the inventories. Using small, you can reduce inventories. You can have more concentration about investigate, right, for better qualities. But remember that the example that I gave you in the class that you use your staffing and then you open the refrigerators. If you have the very less stuff in your refrigerator, you try to consider what is the thing that you can eat or cannot eat, something like that. So the same, if you have the smaller, you can concentrate, right, to have the better quality because you can have, investigate. But if you have too much, right, large smaller, they have a lot of products, a lot of inventories, so you have no idea. It might have the problem inside, but you cannot notice this. Because you have very too much inventories. And also it can have the enhance about the products flexibility. If you want to change something, it's easier because just smaller. You just need that lot finished and then you start the next one. But if you have the very large lot, when you try to change something, it's quite difficult because it takes time. Okay, and this is like a small lot. Okay, setting up time reductions, right? So if I ask you that, okay, the component that can help for lean and just have successful is maybe you can think about firstly is reduce the setting up time. So this is a way easiest one that we can start. Reduce the setting up time. This can help to reduce the waste. It can help to reduce about the cost. So reducing half time we can have too many ways, right? For example, as I mentioned that the stopping change the activity without the stoppings. We can think about the way to things about the sequence of the product that you're going to produce. The product that's very similar is need to have the sequence very closely, because you require to change the equipment not that much, right? So you can save the setting up time. Right? We talk about the work in process. Work in process. Remember, this is one type of the inventories. So if we can limit or we can reduce the work in process, this means we can reduce the inventories. For the quality improvements, for the just-time and lean, please keep in mind that for lean and just-time, it would be better if we have like the technology to help, especially for the automation system, right? Because just-time is and lean is if you have the automation to help, it can help you to reduce all the mistakes. This can help you to prove about the errors that can happen. Right? So in conclusion, for lean and just-in-time, we need to spend much for this diagram. Understand what are the building blocks that help to achieve this. Understand what are the supporting goals and know that ultimate goal of the sunshine, what is this. And for sure, we talk about what is the obstacle or the resistance if we want to apply the just-time or lean in the organization. Right? What are the benefits of just-time and lean? Okay, this is something that you need to concentrate on. Okay, this is the just-time and lean. Okay, and next we move to the very special for us, inventories. So so right now, so far you can see we have the calculation part is one. The first one is about central cavities, right? And then we're gonna have the calculation part for the inventory management. We expect to process for inventory management, so you can expect a lot of questions from this chapter. We studied a lot of models. Right? Importance of inventory control. I might ask you to explain. We need to understand that inventory is if you divide it into two types, it consists of independent demand and dependent demand. Independent demand is what inventory is in the term of the product or the end item or the good that ready to be sold. But dependent demand is like the components. So generally, what we have not known is about independent demand. So independent demand we don't know. So we can know this by make the forecasting. But on the other hand, dependent demand, this is the one that we know for sure. Because we know about the how many parts that we use to produce one product, right? So if you know the independent demand, you automatically know about the dependent demand. Okay. Inventories including all the work in process, raw materials, finished good, good in transit, part, tools, supply, everything. Right? In order to have the effective inventory management, what are the things that you need to have? Keep track inventory. Let's in the easy words, how can you counting the inventories? Reliable forecast, right? As we mentioned, because we would like to forecast the independent demand, so that we can know our others and we can plan for the inventories. Lead times, you need to have the idea about lead time, and also the estimation of several costs, and classification system. Why do we need the classification system? Because the importance of each inventory might be not equally, right? Because some part is very critical, some part is not important. So we need a classification system. We cannot take all the inventory, all our importance at the same level. Right? And yes, the difference between these two inventory counting systems, you need to understand. Right? Periodic system and perpetual system. Periodic system is counting as an interval of time. So what is good thing for a system? You can reduce the ordering cost, remember. You're counting every fixed over interval time. So then every time that you investigate in your storage, if that part or if that inventory is come from the same supplier, you can order at the same time. So you save about the ordering cost, especially for the shipping cost or the delivery cost. But it have the high risk to have the stock out because you check the stock right in the every fixed interval time. So during the time that you are not checking, right? So if you have the stock out or you have the shortage problem, you don't know. You can learn for the next cycle that you will be checked again. And perpetual system is good one because you keep track continuously, real time. And for sure, this advantage is very expensive, and sometimes it's not necessary. Right? But the good thing, you know everything. If something changes in the system, you can track. We can know. So all these two systems by nature, it should suitable for the different product, right? For the periodic system, if we counting every fixed of the interval of the times, so it might be considered for the product that doesn't have too much volatile of their demands. Right, small consistencies or more constant demand, so that you can at least you can expect right that during the time of interval time that you're gonna counting to have enough inventory to serve for the demand. But on the other hand, for the perpetual system, it should be suitable for the case that the product is heavily volatile, where it swings, where it's uncertainties, so you cannot estimate. It's very difficult. So then you require the system that need to keep track on time and real time for the text. Okay, we talk about EOQ models. You need to understand about the concept. The very unique concept of EOQ model is that demand and lead time both are constant and known. This is the assumption. So then you can see everything is very constant. The distance, the slope of the graph of inventory level versus time is quite similar because all things we know with constant and constant. Right? So we try what do we try to find from the EOQ model? We try to find Q, remember? Q is about the amount that we're gonna order every time. Every time we get an amount equal to Q. So what Q is make us have the very minimum total inventory cost. So then we consider by, if you remember that I'm sure about the derive of the formula by, you need to calculate the total cost by combine total ordering cost with the carrying cost and purchase cost, and then do differentiation, remember? And carrying cost is calculated based on the average inventory. So then we need to have like a maximum inventory plus minimum divided by 2. And normally minimum is 0. Right? So please go back to review. So this is very easiest model, right, for EOQ. Don't forget that we consider in the annual terms. So demand is annual for annual. And yes, the other point is another one that we studied. The first model of the other point that we talk is about the case that all are constant, both lead time and demands. So the other point is then equal to demand multiplied with lead time. So everything is constant, right? As you expect, no uncertainty at all. The other point just using demand multiplied with lead time, and you need to have the safety stock. But in fact that in the real world we don't have the steady stock because demand and the time is not constant. So that we study later, right? And that's the chapter. So you need to understand why demand multiplied with lead time will be required. And this one things I already mentioned when we studied. I said I love this, so you need to can expect something. Remember that the way that we spend time to derive the formulas. So pretty sure that we will not waste that time. You need to use this. Right? So EPQ model. I may ask you, besides the calculations, I may ask you what are the differences between EOQ and EPQ. What is the difference between EPQ and EOQ? EPQ, the inventory is gradually occur, right? Because it comes from the excess inventory that you have the production over the demand, right? And then the excess of that inventories of that production can be your inventories. So no, I will not spend time much for this because I already explained, but you need to understand, right? This is really for this figure, for sure. Remember that I'm so for this for you. So pretty sure I love this. Okay. Because sometimes when I provide information and students confused, please go on to review this model. And again, carry cost we calculate based on the overhead inventory. Remember, using minimum plus maximum divided by 2, minimum is still 0. So we solve for the maximum. So this is come from this figure. Right? And that okay. Finally, we try to find Q. Q in EPQ is about the batch size. About the batch size. Right? And we cannot produce batch size within 1 day. Right? So that's why you need to have P rate. P is about the production rate. How many products that you can produce per day? If your batch size is your batch size, let's say 1,000, and you have the ability to produce 100 units per day, so you need 10 days to finish one batch. We try to find the batch size for the EPQ. And the next one that we study is quantity discount. I think you had the experience already from your case study. That's very directly. So, okay, one thing that you need to ignore is about the steady stock in the case that we know stock out cost. This is not in the exam, just skip it. Steady stock with known stock out cost is not in the exam because you are not studying the decision making yet, not in the exam. But you need to pay attention on this one. Steady stock with unknown stock out cost, remember. The one that I explained you, little points, and then you cut steady stock term. You need to open the normal distribution table. In the exam, we provide a table for you. Okay, and this time thing, remember? Yeah. Go to see this for sure. Right. And you probably have like a several subquestion. I provide the information and they have the several conditions for each subquestion and ask you for each of them. Fixed quantity models not in the exam, but we study fixed interval. So please go to review about the fixed interval models. We try to find the amount of Q that we're going to make in order in the fixed time interval, and also the risk of the stock out. You need to understand. We have 2 points that probably have the risk of the stock out shortly after the first order and the second order is at the end, right? Before you getting the stock. We'll just talk about this. Please go to review this. For the single period models, skip it. Not in the exam. Okay. Understand. ABC analysis, yes, probably. Did you understand what it is? Right. So in conclusions, for inventories, EOQ, EPQ, quantity discount, leader points, safety stock with unknown stock out cost, fixed interval model. A lot, but and it's about the calculation part. That's actually. This is for ABC. And then we talk about the process. Okay, for the process, this is the one that you need to understand first. It's about the difference between value creation process and the support processes. For sure, I'll not ask you about the definition, so you need to give me about the example. And yes, let's talk about. Let's see. Why do we need to do the process improvements? What is the importance of the process improvements? And we talk a lot about the framework here, DMASCs, right? So probably I expect, but I'm not sure yet because it's going to make the exam very things. I can have like a small case study, 2-page, very small, right? Because let's say the burn spacing, and also about the table. And based on the case study, I may ask you to do the drawing process chart, or flow charts, or might have like the analyze using some tools such as particle charts, and then what kind of point that you're gonna improve or remove. And don't be nervous. This is all the things that I think, so I can tell you, not in everything. So I'm gonna select based on this. But you can understand that we pay attention on these frameworks. So normally I may have I think about the small case, and based on the case, you can analyze that. Well, what is the bottlenecks or the problems, right? That you need to solve. Okay. So what's kind of the improvement that we can do, right? So you might use this. Solve this to help you to analyze the process. And for the yesterday class, the customer, for sure that the importance of focusing on the customer. And example, and also understanding about expected qualities, this actual qualities, and perceived qualities. If I might ask you about if you want to success, right, in the way to understand the customers, managing the customer, and those kind of things. So what should we do, right? What kind of example that you suggest, right, in order to have the better understand about your customer? So you might think about the first segmentation, you need about the links that information to design the production process. You need to refer to we talk about the measurements, right, of the satisfactions. We talk about the accessibility, the connecting or the communication with the customer. We talk about the complaint management. So you might refer to this to show about the example. Not this one. Okay, kind of models. These satisfier, and exciters. What are they? Right? And what is a technique that you use to gather the information from the customer? Right. You need to understand pros and cons. Right? We talk about the focus group, just like the small case study. It's good for getting the way deep in the information and directly from the customer, but it's bad in the term of cost. It's bad in the term of we ignore some factors from other part of the customer because we just focus in the small group. Common task and formal survey is good because you can have the thing that you want to ask the customer. For example, common task, you can have the several questions. Let the customer to tick, right? So to provide you with the information. But the bad thing is that there's very rarely customer to do this. Customer is lazy to do for the survey, and sometimes you're getting not exactly what their feelings about your service and your products. Direct customer contact, we talk about the management to contact with the customers. Field intelligence for the sales team. Right? You ask about their sales team because they're really close to the customer. And don't forget, for field intelligence, sales team probably too much positive, no negative things from the sales team because they worry about the resources. Right? Complaint analysis, right? We can know about the customer one form, what they are complaining about the product and service. And monitor from the internet, webboard, right, unchip.com, all this, Facebook, social media, all the things that they dislike your service and products. Yeah, probably that is. So a lot, I know, but I cannot tell you exactly. But this is just like the point that you might consider. And for the exams, since we have the calculation part based, don't forget to carry your calculators. Okay, and we have case study, so it probably help for you because you have the case study help. And once again, just like the previous course, please do not leave it blank. I cannot help you, so just write down. Right, so and that's it. So I think I'm done for the exam. This is probably the things I'm going to do. And any question from the exam? Or you want the course book? Or no? I didn't ask you. Maybe you love course book, but I provide you with open book, so that's why I asked you first.
Big challenge.
If you ask for the undergrad student, do you want course book or open book? Majority of them prefer course book for undergrad. Maybe they have the high energies. And don't forget, they study at least 6 or 7 courses per semester, but they prefer course book. But for graduate student, yes, at least you want something that can help. At least I can find something from the textbook and write down. That's all you want. Okay. Nothing else is. I think I finished. If you have any question, you can ask now. And we have the present the case study, right? The question.